Hello and welcome to Jamuna Television. I'm your host 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁 and today we have a very special guest among us, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have Mr. 𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗁, the Honorable Deputy Executive Director of World Food Program, and he's visiting Bangladesh this week, and we will have some insights from him and we'll know about his visit as well. Mr. 𝗏𝗃𝗁, welcome to Bangladesh and welcome to Jamuna Television.
Thank you for having me. It's been good to be here.
Thank you for joining us as well. And we would like to know a couple of questions from your visit, and probably recently you visited Rohingya camp.
Yes.
So what stood out most to you over there?
Well, on one hand, of course, 1.3 million people have been in these overcrowded camps now for over 9 years. And so, there needs to be a solution going forward and for these people to be able to also return home. But in the meantime, the government of Bangladesh, the people of Bangladesh, have really showed impressive generosity in helping and assisting these vulnerable people. But also the international community have stepped up, and the operation, the assistance in those camps is quite impressive.
Yeah, as you mentioned that international community raised their voice, and you have seen the scenario of Rohingya camp. Do you think that they should urge the voice as early as possible?
Well, I think the international community has, raised their voice, and they have also stepped up in support. Yeah. But obviously, it's 9 years now, and there is no solution to this. And people, children, women, are obviously continuing to suffer. This is not a sustainable situation, and over time. But in the meantime, we will do what we can to make life as livable as possible.
As we mention it as a crisis of Bangladesh as well, and WFP is supporting this crisis from the beginning. And you called WFP's work as state of the art. So what does it mean? And probably there is some similarity of your work and serving to the Rohingya community as well.
Well, this is one of our most efficient and effective operations. On every dollar we manage to mobilize, 83 cents of that dollar goes straight to the people we serve, to the beneficiary. Yeah. And that shows we're spending very little on ourselves. So we have found ways to assist as effectively as possible. And the way we do that now is that we give the beneficiaries vouchers so that they themselves can choose what food to buy. And we support the local communities. 25% more or less of our resources go into the local communities. And we also do the procurement of our food from local farmers. And so, in a way, it's a state-of-the-art operation in that it's efficient and it supports the local communities, and it also empowers the people we are serving.
Yeah, but there is a concern, probably, funding runs out in November. So if happens something like that, then what will be the scenario?
Well, we are extremely concerned about that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here, to understand more about the situation, but also to be able to come out of this visit and advocate with international donors, countries in the region, but also more traditional donors, private sector and others, that the funding needs to continue until there is a political solution to this situation.
How are the local farmers are benefiting from supplying the camps?
25%, as I said, of our overall program is invested in the local communities to support, to improve local food systems, but also in our operation then for the Rohingya, we are doing the procurement in the local communities. And so I think it's clear that the local communities have stepped up and showed a lot of generosity. Obviously, there is strain also in those local communities who are hosting 1.3 million people, but we're really doing what we can also to support them.
Yeah, as you have seen the crisis of Rohingya and scenario of Bangladesh, especially the 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘂𝗁𝗃. So, as you mentioned before, but I would like to know again from you that do you think that the international community raise their voice? They should think about this crisis as well, and this crisis shouldn't be forgotten.
Well, there is a big risk here because a lot of attention now is on the Middle East, not least Gaza, but also on Africa with Sudan and the DRC. And so there is a lot of competition for attention. And for some particular reason, it seems that, the world community is only able to keep one or two issues on the agenda at the same time. So we need to work together. And again, that's one of the reasons why I'm here, we need to work together with the government of Bangladesh to keep this situation high on the agenda. Obviously, funding needs to continue, but what ultimately needs to happen is for the international community to come together and bring peace to Myanmar. This is the root cause of this situation, and so that is the only long-term solution to this situation.
Yeah, to this crisis as well. Thank you for sharing such insightful remarks. But let's talk about remarkable journey of 50 years. And you were serving the World Food Program, is serving here for last 50 years. So indeed, it is a remarkable journey. But 50 years is a long journey, as we mentioned. What stands out to you the most? WFP's biggest impact here?
Yes, I mean, 50 years of partnership. This is one of the largest operations of WFP. It's around $300 million annually. So it's for us a very important partnership. It's been fascinating to be a partner for the people of Bangladesh, for the governments of Bangladesh on this 50-year of journey. The progress have obviously been impressive. Bangladesh have done some innovative work in trying to move their populations out of poverty, out of food insecurity. And again, we have been honored to be a partner to that. Our program is broad and wide. I mean, something we're particularly happy with is the work we have done on school meals, for example, to expand access for children to cooked meals in their schools. This is a program that has multiple positive impacts. Not only does it bring a meal to every child, but it also attracts children to actually come to school. It incentivizes children to come to school, not least girls. It improves education outcomes. Yeah. And in the way that we do this, we also make sure that the procurement is done locally. So we promote local farmers and employ local women in the kitchen. So that's one example, but there are many. We worked on social protection, fortified rice. We are now very active to help communities prepare for climate change and the cyclone seasons and the floods, including something we call anticipatory action, which means that we put resources into the hands of people before the extreme weather event hits them, and hence they can prepare, and a lot of suffering and money is saved through those programs. So I can continue for a long time, but there are many fronts, and we will continue to work with the government and with the people of Bangladesh for as long as there are still food security challenges here in Bangladesh.
Yeah, I will definitely talk about the climate resilience and school feeding activities as well. But before that, I just would like to know about the global food security, how the things are going on. As you mentioned about the Bangladesh situation, but what about the global situation?
Well, unfortunately, things are not moving in the right direction. Over the past 5 years, we have seen a threefold in acutely food insecure people, acutely hungry people in the world. We're now around 320 million. And so, there is a food and hunger crisis in the world. At the same time, though, the resources to try to assist and address those needs are coming down. As WFP this year, we see an overall 40% cut in our funding. And obviously, it's an equation that doesn't meet with needs going up, demand going up, and the resources coming down. We are doing everything we can to be more efficient, effective. We are trying to reach out to new donors to mobilize resources, not least in the private sector where there is a lot of money. We are trying to do business in a different way so that we promote solutions and push back on these needs. But it is difficult, and it is going to require that the world community comes together and does things differently going forward.
Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable countries for the impact of climate. So, and the floods, cyclones are very available here. Also, you have mentioned about that. So, and WFP is working on that particular issues as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what kind of thing you can do, which can be the model for the rest of the world?
I mean, indeed, Bangladesh is one of the hardest hit countries in the world. due to climate change, but it's certainly not the country that has contributed the most to climate change. So in a way, the world really owes Bangladesh to come in and support them in managing these challenges. I think what we are working through is something we call anticipatory action, which means that we try to anticipate cyclones, floods, and before they strike, put resources into the hands of people themselves to be able to prepare to maybe move out of risk areas, to fortify their houses. And this is a concept that has proven to be very effective, that decreases suffering and really saves a lot of resources. And this is something now that we mobilize more resources for. And so I think that is our main contribution to help the Bangladeshis cope with this new situation.
Yeah, thank you so much. But let's a bit talk about school feeding activities, though you have mentioned previously, but I would need specific lines from you that millions of children have beneficiated from WFP's activities. So how does this shape both education and nutrition for the next generation?
So school feeding, is a concept that we are championing across the world. Actually, there is now a coalition that has come together, led by Brazil and a few other countries, with the aim of providing school meals to all children of the world by 2030. We're a bit off that track, but there is a lot of traction. Countries like Indonesia, like India, many big countries are now joining the family of trying to provide school meals for people. We have been working on school meals for the past 50 years. It started off that we did the programs, we worked with schools, we provided the food, we hired the chair cooks for the kitchens, but we have progressively moved to provide more of policy support, technical support, drawing on our experience to governments, to authorities, and also joining governments to mobilize big sums of resources from the World Bank and other big financial institutions to be able to roll out these programs at scale. And as I said, it is a concept that does not only provide a nutritious meal for children. It is a concept that improves educational outcomes. It brings children to school and hence also serves to protect not least girls who come then to school in larger numbers. And it's also something that supports the economy, the local economy, because we procure the food locally from local farmers and hire women from the local community into those kitchens. So it's also conversation starter around nutrition. So, children and families who have not really reflected on the fact that you need a variety of foods to be healthy, around that meal a day in schools, it's a conversation starter. And so it has a multitude of positive impacts. And, it's something that I know the government of Bangladesh is committed to continue to push and roll out. And we are certainly looking forward to continue to partner with the government on this program.
Yeah, Mr. Kaul, as we talked about many crises here in Bangladesh and internationally as well. So how do you keep Bangladesh as a priority of your activities of WFP?
No, I'm going to be honest. It's difficult. I mean, I'm the deputy of an organization of some more 20,000 people. We have offices in 100 countries, and obviously on a daily basis, there are many crises that are knocking on my door. Gaza in the Middle East, Sudan, which is the largest hunger crisis the world has seen for decades, and also increasing violence in places like the Congo. We have a funding crunch in Afghanistan. Haiti is struggling with armed gangs, and so the list is long. And that's why and that's why I needed to come here to discuss with the government how we can make sure that the world community is paying attention, because the world has a particular responsibility when it comes to refugees and to the Rohingya refugees. They are particularly dependent on international support, and so donors will need to continue to step up, and we will, and also to remind the world community that the only solution here is to bring peace to Myanmar, and we want to see more concerted efforts for that.
And also for the repatriation as well. Yeah, thank you for sharing your insights. Do you have any particular message for Bangladesh?
Well, they can count on WFP's continued partnership. We've been here for 50 years. We hope that we will not be here for another 50 years, because our hope and what we anticipate is that Bangladesh will be able to move forward, deal with its hunger challenges, and be a prosperous and rich country, in the next couple of decades. And hence, WFP can focus elsewhere. But while there remains hunger and while there remains food security challenges in Bangladesh, you can count on us, whether that's in the camps with Rohingyas or across the country, working on school meals or climate adaptation. You can count on WFP.
Thank you, Mr. Skau, for joining us. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us, and we will keep this conversation continuing in future as well. Thanks for joining us as well.